You know it's gonna be hot.
Welcome to the Bridge the Gap podcast with your hosts, Dr. Don and Khalif, a hip-hop influenced father and son duo, bridging the gap, one conversation at a time.
Yo, what's going on, good people? What's going on? And welcome back to the Bridge the Gap podcast. I am your boy, Dr. Don C. Sawyer III, a.k.a. the Harlem Sun. And who you be?
Yo, it's your boy Leaf. You know, licensed Leaf.
License. Whatever, man. So, yo, so you finally got your driver's license.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
20.
What took you so damn long?
Well, I failed my first permit test on the last question,
Bruh.
and that kind of messed my my motivation up.
For 4 years, man?
Yeah, and then I'm in New York too, so I don't really need to drive. You know, I've been doing just fine on the Q31. You know, shout out to the Q31.
Yo, but you and your brother failed your first.
No, Hawk is lying. Hawk did not fail on his last one. I literally failed on my last one.
No, I'm not talking about on the last question.
Oh, what?
I'm talking about the fact that you both failed the first time you took your permit test.
Hey, man, he had no excuse. He was in quarantine. He had nothing but time, but whatever.
Yeah, man. Well, you got your license. So what does that mean for you?
Nothing really right now. I don't have a bunch of places to go or anything. So
and you ain't got no car.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, I got my license, and I didn't have a car. I mean, I got my license. Yeah, when I got to college, we didn't have a car growing up, and having a license in New York City was pointless, and so I didn't get it until I left. I mean, I had my permit. I definitely had my permit, and I passed it on the first try. And
it's probably easier.
Yeah, no, come on. How is it easier? And then I used to drive. We used to get rental cars because it was around the time when I was going to look at colleges and stuff like that. And so my mother would rent a minivan or something like that, and I would be driving. She didn't like driving on the highway, and I didn't necessarily like driving on the highway. So we driving for 3.5 hours. My father in the back seat. He ain't got no license, but he bumping his gums and talking mad stuff from the back seat. I'm like, yo, dude, shut your face. You can't even drive. You know what I mean? But again, I passed my permit test on the first try as well as the road test. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
hey, man.
So I got a question for you, man. As we get started, man, it's some stuff going on. I woke up, saw a tweet about your boy and his boys on the Joe Budden podcast and everything that happened with that, man. And so I know that was a joint that you listened to, man. So how you feeling, man, about what's going on?
I don't know, man. It's tough because I don't know. I've been listening to them since 2016, 2017. You know, I was pushing carts, listening to the podcast, you know. I don't know, man. I've listened to since small. I've listened to every episode, a lot of them more than once. That's for the podcast. That's the first podcast I ever knew, so that's the reason I'm doing a podcast right now. But it's not right now. It's not so much the fact that the podcast is coming to an end, because things end, but it's kind of the way that Joe in particular is handling things and all that stuff.
But so, all right. So what is the beef about? Like I've been seeing, tweets or whatever. I saw listened to some of the footage from the episode that got taken down, and Joe was kind of spazzing. Why did dudes leave, a couple of weeks ago?
Well, it was already a lot of built up tension from what they said. What that tension was, I don't know, it's a culmination of things. But what set it off to where they left is the tension had got to a certain point with Joe and Rory.
Yo, which one is Rory?
Rory's the white dude with the orange hair.
All right.
Shout out Rory. But yeah, so it got to a certain point with Joe and Rory, and Joe texted Rory to not come, told him to take a break and don't come to record that day. And I think Rory was already angry, so he wasn't even really tripping off of it. He was like, whatever. But then Maul, he took a problem with that because it's like they're a group. They work together, they're partners. And it's like, how can you tell him, who's an equal part of this group, that he can't come? Like, who are you to tell him that? Like, why is that not a group conversation?
Yo, but so Joe clearly didn't see them as equals.
He always claimed he did, but it's right now it seems like he didn't, and he doesn't. But yeah, so it got to a certain point. Joe and Maul get into a big argument, and Joe, being the petty jerk that he is, Joe knows he's a jerk. Everybody knows Joe's a jerk, but it's when it's directed towards certain people, it's like, what are you doing? So Joe ends up telling Maul that the podcast is none of his business.
Okay.
The podcast that, he came in, he wasn't there from the jump. He came in episode 77, but the podcast that he helped build and get to a certain point, that podcast is none of his business. So obviously Maul took a problem with that, and they were on a break for like 6 weeks. Joe had Ice and Ish come and fill in. So was it a week or two ago? They come back. They kind of tell the people what was happening, what was going on. Maul's point was just all about respect. Rory was like, he felt it was like just some tension and some stuff that could be worked out, blah, blah, blah. That happened. Then the next episode, it was awkward.
Like, the episode when they came back?
No, the episode after they came back. I thought the first episode they was going to be back. I was like, yeah, it's going to be awkward, but they're going to hash all of it out. Well, that's what I was hoping. Second episode, I see it's awkward. Maul is hardly talking. There's a few laughs here and there, but you can tell that something is off. And so they, before they came back, they had already announced that last week they'd be going on vacation. So last week comes, they go on vacation, I guess. Today comes Wednesday. They're supposed to put their first pod out since vacation. Maul and Rory aren't there. Some people already predicted that would happen because it just seemed like too much tension was happening. But yeah, so now Maul and Rory aren't there. Joe, I don't even know. Like, yep. It's so much stuff like going through, like so much stuff that's being said. Right now, what I basically feel like is Joe is being petty. Joe's kind of trying to switch the narrative and make it seem like he's a victim. Joe doesn't want to be wrong. His ego is getting in the way of like him. He even mentioned it when he was talking, like him and Maul live together. Like, he's letting not wanting to be wrong in his ego and his business mess up a 10-year plus friendship.
So but I'm saying, are you surprised at this joint with the way that Joe is? I mean, because like I clearly I haven't watched as many episodes as you. I've seen a number of them. I thought their energy was good. I always thought it was weird when dude was like kind of sitting off camera. You could see legs and all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started on Parks.
That's neither here nor there. But it seemed like, I mean, even though the other people were on there, it was his show.
All
right.
So yeah, people aren't surprised. I'm not surprised by the way he's acting because this is how Joe has always acted, whether he's yelling at some companies, some heads of whatever. The thing that's surprising for me is that he's directing this energy towards people who he's supposed to be friends with, who's he's known for 10 years plus. And so that's where it comes like, what are you doing? Like, y'all built this together. Okay, if it ends, it ends. But now he's just saying stuff that like, come on, you like this was never the energy before. I don't know if your feelings is hurt, you felt abandoned, but
Yeah, I'm
uh
saying like it's from what I was reading, right? And again, I don't know all the particulars, but from the joints that I was reading, it seems like he was putting on the front to act as if he wasn't hurt. Like this whole idea, nah, I don't care, it's whatever, stuff ends like that energy, but it seemed like that energy was masking some hurt feelings.
yeah, and it's like Joe, he puts on this thing where he's like he tries to he portrays himself like like a mogul or something like that. He mimics people that he sees like Diddy and Jay-Z and stuff, and he that's where he wants to be, but he's not really there yet. And you just can't, that's not how you can't conduct business like that.
I'm saying, so the other part that he was talking about, or that I at least that I saw in the tweets, was around him and contracts and how they were trying to see contracts. They were trying to see what happened, whatever, like with this ownership, when they move off of their previous platform. And he was like, nah, son.
Yeah. And that's another part of like like he's being a hypocrite because a lot of people have seen the clip of him screaming at Yachty, standing over the table, getting all in Yachty's face about him not knowing that much stuff about his contracts. And then Maul and Rory asked about their contracts, and now it's no. Or the same thing, he tells the story of when he was trying to negotiate a deal with Tidal. He's talking to Jay-Z. He asked to see the stuff, and Jay-Z says no. But it's like, what side are you on? He claims he's always on the side of the creators, everybody getting paid, this and that. But that's not what you're doing. You're not being transparent. And he tries to he like since they've come back, he's been saying this thing like, where else, what other job can you do this? And he's referring to like Maul and Rory just leaving for 6 weeks. Like, where else can you do that? But my thing is, where else can you keep your business partners in the dark about certain business things just off of the strength that you're friends and they let you slide? So you can't do both ways. You can't do I'm giving you guys so much. Where else can you do this when it works both ways? It's a two-way street.
Yeah, I mean, well, clearly he's not seen it that way. The other thing that came up was, and I don't know if it was Joe or if it was just like other people who were tweeting at him, was saying that Rory and Maul, they came back because the podcast was still doing well, like with the alternative hosts, and they were feeling some type of way around that.
Yeah. I mean, if that's how, I can't really. If that's how people felt, that's how people felt. I do think that those episodes were kind of a breath of fresh air.
Wait, the episodes without Rory and Maul?
Yeah, the episodes with Ice and Ish, not because they're better than Rory or and Maul. No, it's because, like they've said, there's been tension for months. And so when you have two people who there's no tension with, who you're also friends with, it's gonna seem like it's like a breath of fresh air. But something that I've been saying or whatever, it's like, you take Ice and Ish's episodes, the way people was like over exaggerate, like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest podcast that I've ever heard. Which, if you think that, then whatever. But in my opinion, those episodes are good, but they're nowhere close to the prime episodes where Joe, Rory, and Maul are all meshing well together.
And so one of the other things that came up that I saw was that someone else posted was like, yo, it's funny how now Rory and Maul see that, academics or whatever wasn't crazy.
Yeah. So what that comes from Joe or Rory and academics and Maul, I guess they have beef because I don't know. I guess Rory and Maul have said stuff about him. Academics has said stuff about them, but what people are saying that academics is right in is he's been saying for a while now that Maul and Rory are replaceable. They're just employees, this and that. Now that was coming out of beef, but really people are like, yo, he might be right. When he was right in the fact that that's, I guess, what it was all along, but that's not like, I don't know. That's not what Joe was putting out there. That's not the energy that anyone was putting out there. It only seems that energy comes from now when Joe is being mad and petty. So
do you think that, it's a couple things. So do you think that the podcast is over, or is it just the podcast is over with no chances of those dudes coming back?
Yeah, those dudes aren't coming back. I do think the podcast will continue with Ice and Ish, which is cool, I guess. But really, I'm just like, I mess with Ice and Ish, I mess with Rory and Maul, and I mess with Joe. Like Joe is like one of those inspiration guys for me and has been. But it's like the way I've seen him act in the victim card he's playing with, along with the ego and all that, it's kind of rubbing me and a lot of other people the wrong way. Like I'm in the podcast has like a subgroup or whatever on Reddit, and people, I've just been looking through what people are saying, and people are like, yeah, this is like, it's just Joe being petty and acting out. And Parks has usually been cool. He could be corny at times.
I mean, Parks is the dude who's in the back, like the engineer or whatever.
Yeah, but he's usually the always politically correct, the white guilt guy who's whatever. But he's been cool. The way he's acted, it's disgusting, bro.
Well, I mean, what is he doing now?
The way he's like the biggest yes man for Joe right now. And I've always messed with Parks. I always thought he was cool, which he is, but nah. It's just absurd. Like, cause I was reading about it before I listened. I didn't even. This was the first time I never just listened to Joe Budden podcast episode, no matter what was going on. This is the first time I heard a couple clips and I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to this. But Parks is like everything. It's like, yeah, you're right. It's come on.
But he's saying he's right on what episode? What episode was this?
On this most recent one, the most recent one, like he's going all out. But even on the other ones, it's like, yeah, Joe, I see where you come from. Yeah. It's like, all right, like, do you have something? Do you actually have? People were saying, like, do you have an original thought? Do you have something to add, or are you just agreeing? You know, because really, I feel like Parks, what he should be, mind you, not he doesn't have to do anything, but I feel like he could really be a mediator in all of this. But no, he's just taking up with Joe and whatever. But yeah.
All right, so you think the podcast is still going to exist? But I'm saying, so what lessons do you get from this and ego?
I don't think I necessarily take a lesson from this, just because Joe, like, there's ego, and then and then there's like Joe's level of ego, and I think that's like just something completely different than the normal maybe male ego or something like that. Because everybody has ego. Rory has ego. Maul has ego, but at a certain point, they were able to put that to the side and talk business or be vulnerable or whatever, or be wrong.
So,
like, I haven't heard Joe take real. The only thing I've really heard Joe take kind of true accountability for is what he said to Maul. But even then, he's kind of trying to justify what he said. Whatever.
Yeah. But all right. So when you think about this, like you say, like we all have ego, right? But this seems like it's ego that's getting in the way and actually destroying something that was built. Like you said, you've been listening for a minute. It's been going for a while. I know their views have, been going crazy or whatever. And some people might argue that ego, a little bit of healthy ego is not too bad. But when it's destroying something that you built unnecessarily, like I think that's the problem.
And like people were saying, people have been saying that ever since this happened, Joe destroys everything he builds. Now, I haven't been on that that opinion usually, but now it's like, fam, you're gonna ruin the podcast that really changed. Because Joe Budden, before, he's just, Joe Budden's Pump It Up. He's a rapper, whatever. Joe Budden is like for real somebody now. And that's with the help of the podcast. That's with the help of Rory and Maul. So the fact that he's kind of throwing that away, like if it just ended, but he attempted to try to fix what happened and it just couldn't happen, okay, things happen. But he's not. It's like, man. So I haven't been on that tip really, but now it's like, okay, maybe the stuff that people have said is true about you just being self-destructive.
Yeah, I think that's what I saw people posting like that. Like you just said, he destroys what he builds. And I'm not sure like how big of a tension it is. I'm not sure how small it is, the beef is, or how large the beef is. But sometimes like with dudes, like with ego and pride, that destroys a lot, right? Because so this is the interesting thing for me, right? So I listen to Joe's music. And so when you listen to his music, like he's a vulnerable artist.
Yeah.
Right. He shares his feelings about love and loss and like and all of this stuff in his music. And then like to see this is just interesting that same energy from this music of being in that vulnerable space is not being shown with this piece.
No, and I wouldn't even say that. I think it is being shown.
That he's vulnerable and dealing with his feelings, or
that he's saying exactly how. Well, no, I don't think he's saying exactly how he feels, because I think he's trying to cover up for some of the stuff. But just like from the music to podcasting, like I said before, he's always gone on these rants, has always shot at the big guys who are running this stuff. Like I said before, it's just when you put that energy towards people who are supposed to be your friends. And Joe's just been on whack. Like everything he's been doing these past, it's just been whack. Because when they came back, Maul and Rory the first time, Joe's talking about, Rory, you invited me to your hands. You want us to fight me. And it's like, okay. Even though, and he claims that Rory is the first, or he's the one who started that kind of joke. But Joe was offended at that because they are friends. But now you have Joe saying, "Oh, I hardly knew Rory. Rory still had a job." He's saying all this stuff. Oh, at the end of the pod, he's talking about, "Yo, nobody asked you to be there when my son was born," and stuff. Like it's whack. And like Joe, there's still a certain level of respect or whatever, but it's like he lost a lot, not just from me, but from a lot of the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, so do you think he's gonna be losing a lot of fans?
I think people will still listen. I don't think he's gonna fall off or anything, but I think he definitely has lost a few fans. Like even I paid for their Patreon joint when they first released it, and because that's what I do. Like if I have the money, I like to support the people I support. But when Maul and Rory was gone, I was like, yeah, no. And if I hadn't canceled it then, I for sure would have canceled it today. So
So
I don't.
so if the podcast continues, you not listening, or you just not going to be subscribing to the Patreon?
I'll probably get back to listening towards some point. Probably I'll probably listen to the next episode just to hear what's being said. Because when Joe is not on this type of time, Joe is enjoyable and entertaining to listen to. But yeah, when he's doing this, it's like if he's doing this and if he's sending subliminals and stuff like that, yeah, I'm not listening.
You're listening to Bridge the Gap podcast with Dr. Don and Khalif, a father and son, bridging the gap, one conversation at a time.
So, all right. So, related in the sense that is in the same hip hop world, another bomb was dropped today.
Yeah.
Literally. J. Cole on LA Leakers, freestyle. Like he's looking like I haven't seen him in a while. Like he's feeling himself, man. He's feeling himself.
So yeah, he dropped the LA Leakers freestyle. He was really rapping. Just the fact that
he always rapping.
Yeah,
he spits.
But no, there's a difference. There's a difference with this. My bad. Just the fact that he did a freestyle. I saw it as at 2:00 or whatever time it dropped that he was doing the interview, and then it was like, oh, this is a freestyle. I was like, yeah, he's coming different with a different type of energy. And the reason, of course, he's always rapping, but the type of lyrics and stuff he's saying, he wouldn't be saying that stuff before. That's back at the Friday Night Lights. Like yeah.
I'm saying he's spitting like he's hungry right now, like he's hungry, and so. Oh my gosh, I was just like, yo, because I'm listening while I'm driving. And dude was spitting hot fire. Shout out to Dylon, right? And so people got to be ready because he spits, like he spits, but like his energy is like it reminds me of like Michael Jordan Killer Instinct, or that one time I saw LeBron James. I don't know if it was in that series against Boston.
Yeah, when 2012.
He had a look in his eyes like, yo, it's about to be on. That's the sense that I got from listening to this joint. And it's almost like after he spits the second joint, he sits back. It looks like he surprised himself.
Yeah, because like he says in the freestyle, he hadn't, I don't know the last time J. Cole has dropped a freestyle like at a radio station. And so, yeah, like I text you, I think the off season is going to be J. Cole's best album.
It might be. I mean, because you already know how I felt about his studio albums, right? Like my favorite J. Cole studio album was probably the Forest Hills. It's KOD. That's a tough one. There's a toss up between those two, but this one, because this is the thing, right? This dude releases an interlude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, if he's spitting like that on the interlude, because a lot of people think of like the interlude as like some throwaway track or something, like some space taker.
Yeah, like a transition.
Yeah, transition on the piece. And so if he's spitting like that on the interlude, I can only imagine. And then watching what's the name of the mini documentary?
I think it's something Pressure.
Yo. And like to hear the way he described like going through the process of not being satisfied with what he had out there, and that he wants to put on something that if he leaves or retires from the game, that he's going to be satisfied with what he put out. And so hard body, right? Because I mean, and to think about it is like when you think about the sports piece, the off season matters. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when you get busy so you can produce.
Yeah. And I think the name of the mini documentary is called Applying Pressure. If y'all ain't watch it, go watch it.
Bruh. That's an understatement, man. He's applying pressure, man.
Yeah. And you see he's coming with a different energy. And the reason I say this might be his best project, some people already say that Friday Night Lights is his best project just because of the way he's rapping, the hunger and all that. With this album, I think he has that same hunger back in his maybe not trying to prove a point, but he probably is.
I think he is trying to prove a point.
Yeah, he's trying to prove a point, but now he's a much more polished artist. Before he was rapping over other people's beats. Now he got his own people producing for him. He's producing. I think the thing. Do you want to see features on this album?
Do I want to see features?
Yeah.
I've never. No, he don't have features.
I know, but I want to see some. I want to see some features
on this album.
Yes.
Like why? Like you think Dude gonna be on there? 21.
I think if he has features, 21 will be on the project.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not interested in because sometimes people have so many features you don't even know who album it is, man.
Yeah, no. Project it is. I think I want him to drop an album that's about maybe 14 to 15 songs. I don't know how long KOD was, but 14 to 15 songs. And if he does, let's say 14 songs, I want him to have at least 5 features on there.
Bro.
On 5 different songs.
Why?
That leaves 9 songs by himself.
Yeah, I guess.
Nine songs by himself.
I'm just not interested in him with features because it's almost like people use features to beef up their joint, yo. Like, or I don't know, man.
Well, yeah, but it's okay. We just watched J. Cole go on that legendary feature run.
Yeah.
So and that was like he said in the documentary, that was just off the whim of do you want to, when you're done, do you want to say that you've never worked with anyone? Like that's not cool. So
but he's already did it about being featured on other people's joint.
Okay, yeah. So the feature run he went on, that was just off the whim of him saying, yo, when people send you a feature, say yes. Now I want to see, not just once it's sent to you, say yes. I want to see, no, we decided to come up with this track together. And fam, let there be a Kendrick feature.
If he comes with a Kendrick feature,
yes,
he's trying to shake the earth. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain energies. There's certain energies that shouldn't make. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, Quinnipiac University. If J. Cole drops and Kendrick is on the album, I'm just taking the rest of the day off. Just so y'all know right now, I'm canceling meetings and taking the day off because it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be. You can't do that.
And I remember
you can't come with the interlude. You can't come with applying pressure. You can't come with that freestyle, and then you talking about a feature with him and Kendrick Lamar. It's not fair. It's not fair.
And what was I about to say? I remember when Revenge of the Dreamers came out. That's the compilation album of his label.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that one, but
and Kendrick's still on the first song. When my reaction when I heard him come in singing, I was like, "Is that?" And it was Kendrick. He ain't rap no verse, but just that. If there's a Kendrick verse on this album, that's crazy.
It's not fair because this is the thing.
Yeah,
it's like Jordan going to a middle school and playing pickup ball, right?
Yeah,
it's not fair for what's happening in the industry right now for J. Cole with that energy to come out and say, "Yo, Kendrick, let's come together." Like the Wonder Twins or whatever that cartoon was, put our rings together and just blow up the industry real quick.
Yeah,
because we're gonna have to be putting stuff back together for a while after that. Because you can't.
Well,
you can't drop anything after that.
Well, Cole that's drops, not true.
Who else gonna be able to drop after
that? Kendrick is rumored to drop.
Yeah. I'm talking about outside of those two.
Drake is dropping soon,
bruh. Who? I don't care about
Yeah,
Drake.
go ahead and say who cares about Drake.
I'm saying people care about Drake, but Drake ain't hungry. If maybe he come with some, I don't know. He don't.
We'll see.
It's okay.
We'll see. But yeah, if it doesn't even have to be Kendrick. Let's say even a Drake feature. There's certain people I want to hear him rap with. That's just like we got the feature one, but we still didn't hear him rap with a lot of people. Like he's been rapping since 2000. We've known of Cole since probably like 2009, and there's been a lot of rappers who have came and went through that time. We haven't heard him rap with too many people. So I want to hear like a random feature. Like, I don't know. So, like, I want to hear,
like
okay,
who?
I want to hear maybe like a Drake feature or someone on that level who we know. All right, Cole is like someone on the same level as Cole.
But I don't want no Drake feature if Drake ain't spitting. Like hit it, like if he ain't on some just straight rapping stuff, like hit it in the morning type stuff. I don't want no singing Drake on there.
Yeah,
no, like if Drake is gonna be a feature, he got to be spitting, like it got to be straight bars.
Yeah,
one
like,
person. Okay,
give me a J. Cole and a Lil Baby track. Give me a J. Cole and a Roddy Ricch track. Now, so no.
Maybe Lil Baby. Maybe Lil Baby. I don't really, yeah.
But Roddy Ricch more than Lil Baby, because Lil Baby just puts out stuff. Like he can rap, and it doesn't take a lot for him to put out a fire verse. But when it's with Cole knows how to select music. So I have confidence in the fact that he would select good features. So I want him to get with maybe two or three seasoned guys, but give some of the new generation a shot, because not only that, it's because he's on KOD. He was rapping like the new people, like the current generation. Even on Interlude with the kind of singing stuff with the auto tune, he's rapping like the new generation. So I want to hear him with a few newer guys.
Yeah, I mean that might be well and good. And I think he like what he did on KOD, what he did on the Interlude is like, yo, I can, again, like going back to this idea of him being the middle child. I could do it either way, right? I could do your style and kill it. I could do whatever, right? I think that's the important piece. Now, when you think about somebody new, it means an interesting point of transition, because I know it's not going to happen, but I would love to have seen him.
That's not true.
Have Moray on his joint.
That's not true. That is not true. That might not happen.
It could. I mean, because both of them, Fayetteville, he told dude, yo, like, I'm feeling your joint, whatever. So
yeah, no, because I saw his name on the thing, but I didn't even put that together.
You saw whose name on what thing?
Moray.
On what thing?
Like just the list we made. But if he does go with the young guys, I could 1000% see him get on this track with someone like Moray. He's already backed him, posted his stuff, really supported him for real.
Yeah, that was Fayetteville, bro.
That was how I found out about Moray. I saw like an Instagram post on like a hip hop account, and it was like J. Cole co-signed this dude. I was like, all right, this is just a paid ad. But I went to the joint and I saw, oh, that's J. Cole's comment under there. And I listened, I'm like, this joint is fire.
What song you heard? Quicksand?
It was, Quicksand was the first one I heard. And then what's the next one?
Trenches. Low Key.
I like Low Key.
Trenches. So this is the thing, right? So, transition, Fayetteville, Moray. So I was listening to some interviews with Moray. So, I listened to his joint on the Breakfast Club. Like, dude got really cool energy. Like he seems like a cool dude. Just trying to eat, do his thing, put his music out. Then I heard him on that. What's that joint? I told you, Jump, whatever. I don't remember.
No Jumper.
It was like 10 minutes and he was talking about him. And so dude asked him, like, yo, how do you feel about the fact that academics said that you are an industry plant?
He said that? I didn't see him say that.
He was like, yo, he had to find out, like, okay, what an industry plant was fully. But then he was like, yo, how am I an industry plant when I'm still living in the same place that I was living in, like, with the earlier videos? Like I still got holes in my windows. And he's like, yo, like, nah. He's like, I got co-signed by, like, Cole. And, like, when he started talking about Cole, this dude was lighting up. Like, this dude was lighting up, like, yo, he didn't have to do that. Like, and like, yo, it's Cole, like, yo, him, like, dude was lighting up. And then I guess Jay, I don't remember on what interview it was, but Jay-Z, I guess, shouted him out and was like, yo, you're on my playlist.
Moray?
Yeah.
Oh.
And was like, you're on my playlist. I don't know if he told him, like, what track he was on his playlist. I think it was like number 37 or something like that, or 27. But he's like, yo, I'm just getting into this. And to have someone like Cole, and I guess they met, and he was talking about Cole's energy. He was like, yo, he is like, he's not Hollywood or none of that. He was just like, yo, telling me things to avoid in the industry, things to kind of, obstacles to avoid. And he was like, he was just showing love. And he was just like, man, he was giddy, like, just like a kid who came into their room and saw Santa and the Tooth Fairy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just like, mad giddy.
The whole industry plant joint, I don't think Moray is an industry plant. I think that he got a really good promo, and he got support from some, obviously J. Cole supporting him. The Baby, who's also from North Carolina, was supporting him.
Did the Baby say something? Oh yeah. I think he did say something about the Baby. Yeah.
And it's just, he had a really hot record out. That was a good song.
That song was crazy.
It wasn't empty lyrics, nothing like that. Like, he was singing. Yo, what's up with my voice?
Yo, I thought you went through puberty already.
He was singing, but he's also saying stuff with it. So yeah, I didn't get a chance to listen to his album yet, but
I listened to the whole joint, Street Sermon. Like he's singing through the whole joint, he's spitting, different topics. I'm actually going to use some of his songs for my sociology of hip hop class I'm going to teach in the fall, because I think he got some stuff that I want the students to analyze. But so we in the car driving down to the city, and so your brother, and I was playing it, he was listening to it, he was bouncing to it. And then he was like, yeah, but yo, he sound like everybody else. I'm like, yo, he sound like everybody else. But he said he sounds like Rod Wave? No. And so I put on a song by Rod Wave, or whatever his name is. And one of the songs was like, okay, I could see some similarity. But it's just like, it's different. Like, Moray is like more of a pure singer. I can't explain it.
No, Rod Wave is a better singer than Moray.
Not from the songs I heard. I gotta listen to this whole album. Dude.
But no, yeah, Rod Wave could actually sing, but it's just, I don't know. That's when two people kind of sound similar, people just group them together forever. And I hope that's not what people do with Moray, because they're two big dudes who sing their song. Yeah, and I guess they're both from a certain environment. They rap about similar subjects, but there is a difference, and I think there's room for both of them. Kind of like the same thing people try to do with JID. They heard one song where he sounded like Kendrick, and that has stuck, even though he doesn't rap like Kendrick. But whatever.
Yeah, he does. Well, whatchamacallit sounds like Kendrick though.
Who?
The other dude that they said is an industry plant.
D-Smoke is an industry plant. He is an industry plant. Fam. Why? Dude, oh my gosh. One, he's Sir's brother who's already signed to TDE. That was what kind of confirmed it. But on the show, man, they gave him the success, like just the package for him. They set him up with the TDE producers, all this, and it's like, okay. And then he drops one album after he came off the Netflix show and got a Grammy nomination for Best Hip Hop Album. He did not have the Best Hip Hop Album.
Well, clearly he didn't win.
But no, he got the nomination over someone like Lil Baby or someone who had the most successful hip hop album. But that's neither here nor there. So D-Smoke is still talented, but
Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of another industry plant, that's going to be another interesting transition for us. No, that's not an industry plant. I was thinking. You know who I was thinking of?
Who?
Chance the Rapper.
Oh.
Because people talking about Chance as an industry plant. I mean, this whole idea of industry plant. I mean, it's whatever. But I want to talk about switch to, maybe not the same, but Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. You were talking
Yeah.
about some of his tweets and stuff that he was talking about. What?
Let me just pull him up. This is my bad. This just came across my timeline. He tweeted, saw people on here having a discussion about how tired they were of reviewing boring stuff, talking about TV and film. We're getting boring stuff and not even experimental mistakes because people are afraid of getting canceled. So they feel like they can only experiment with aesthetic. Also, because some of them know they're not that good. Or okay, but basically, he's saying that nobody's being adventurous, nobody's taking risk in TV and film.
Everybody being safe.
Yeah, because they don't want to get canceled. Now, he's right, and I think
so. You think everybody being safe?
Yeah, but like everybody's being safe, but I think everybody's being safe for a reason. Today, you will get canceled. So I don't think it's.
I mean, not everybody, but yeah, it's serious.
Yeah, you maybe not even like as a person, you might not get canceled, but your show can definitely get canceled.
So you believe that cancel culture is stifling creativity?
Yes.
Okay.
But at the same time, I guess
you can't say but.
No,
but negates everything that you said before that.
I think the fear of cancel culture is slowing down growth in experimentation with comedy, TV, film, music, whatever. But at the same time, I don't think cancel culture is. I don't think someone can actually be canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a person can be canceled, but you can hit their pockets, right? And so, I mean, the interesting thing is,
I don't think that either, but we'll get into that.
Because when I think about cancel culture, I think about somebody who I think is fearless. I mean, I don't know if he is fearless, but I mean, the person that comes up for me is Dave Chappelle. Like, Dave Chappelle doesn't seem to care because he believes that, like, through the art of comedy, you're supposed to be able to talk about these things and push the envelope. Now, some people will disagree, but Dave Chappelle shoots straight and will say what he needs to say and deal with it however he needs to deal with it. Now you're saying, well, what do you feel about Dave in this realm, in this world of cancel culture?
I feel like I watched a video on YouTube about they got into how Dave has kind of survived through all of this. But I think with Dave, when I watch his comedy, there's sometimes where like I might not have heard a joke yet, and I'm kind of nervous for what he's about to say.
Yeah.
But it's like he does it in a way where he's not just saying ignorant things. Yo, why is my voice cracking?
He's not saying you're going through second stage of puberty at the age of 20.
He's not saying ignorant things. He's also educated. He's educating people. And I don't think anything that he says that people might get offended by, it's not malicious at all.
I'm saying, yo, he's
not. Yeah, no.
I mean, some people would say he is malicious.
What is offensive and malicious?
Okay.
I don't think he's
offensive. So he can be offensive. He's not. Yeah, he's not. I would say he's not malicious. All right, I agree with that one.
Yeah, I don't think he's hateful. Can people get offended by the stuff he's saying? Yes, I guess. And I can't tell anyone how to feel, but it's like
and see. So for me, like as a person who has loved comedy for as long as I remember. I remember, growing up with my pops and my uncle having like the Richard Pryor albums, and I still have one of them joints from my childhood, like the Richard Pryor album that I would see, and then I remember Eddie Murphy Delirious comes out, and I don't remember what year that was, but I know it was at a time where technically one could argue that I shouldn't have been listening to Eddie Murphy Delirious, but guess I memorized it. Like I memorized Eddie Murphy Delirious, and so these people like push the envelope, like they push the envelope, and I'm trying to. It came out in 1983, so 76. Dang, I was like 7 years old, 8 years old, listening to Eddie Murphy Delirious. But again, like I've always listened to comedy, and I appreciated the people who were able to kind of push the envelope and also give sharp critique of social issues, right? So when you think of someone who's a smart comic, who's like just Dave Chappelle, like is brilliant. The work that he did on the show in the first 2 seasons, like unbelievable. Like the Clayton Bigsby, it's probably one of my favorite sketches that I've seen, because I thought it was just like brilliant the way that he put these things together, and he pushes, and he doesn't want anyone to silence him, right? Because I think that sometimes, well, I won't say now. I think people live in a world where they feel that they're not going to get offended. And I think that's impossible, to walk through this planet and not be offended.
I think people want to be offended. Like, there's a bunch of fake outrage out there. Like, even like with Dave Chappelle's comedy, like I just wish I could sit down with people, listen to a certain joke that offended them, and I just want to ask, what was offensive to you? And if they say whatever, I'm not going to judge them or anything, but it's like, I really don't think he's coming from a bad place. And it reminds me of the kind of mini special Dave had with his last thing. It was like a Q&A, and he tells the story. He's like, I think he was at some bar or club or something, and there was a trans woman who wanted to speak with him. He's like, he thought that she was going to be mad at him or whatever, and she says something about whatever was in the New York Times or something about Dave Chappelle's jokes normalizing rape culture and something like that. And then she says, it's funny how they say that about rape culture, but why doesn't you telling jokes on transgenders normalize us? And it's kind of like people want to stick to people. In my opinion, people just want to be mad have something to be mad at, feel oppressed by something. I don't know.
I mean, I see that. And I think, and people don't agree with me. And so when I don't know if it was in like high school, probably was in high school, maybe 8th grade, but there used to be these joke books, and you could buy like these books full of jokes, and they were race-based jokes. So they had jokes in there about white people, Polish people, black people, Asian people. They were just these jokes, right? Would I buy it now? No, right? I was young. I bought these books to read these racial jokes, right? And I would read the black jokes. Uh-huh. Now, some people would probably be offended by them, but those joints they were funny.
For me, as long as there's like some type of skill or something to the joke, and it's like you're actually funny. Like, okay, Dave Chappelle has a joke about what's more dangerous to black people than police or anything else. He's like, salt. And it's like, that's funny. Now, even Dave Chappelle is black. I don't know. I was gonna say, even if it was told by a white person, I wouldn't be offended. But at the same,
it would depend on
funny.
Who it is. Like there are white comics that have black jokes that are sharp, and those joints are funny. Like they're funny. Like I just love the craft of good comedy. Like I love the craft of it, and so racial jokes told in the space of pushing and being creative, like, don't necessarily bother me. And again, like, I don't expect everyone to experience it in the same way, but I love the craft of comedy and what it can do.
Yeah. Um, and just to kind of wrap up my thoughts on Dave Chappelle and cancel culture, what I see when Dave Chappelle tells jokes maybe about certain groups or certain people, it's not anything hateful. He's just not treating them any different than anyone else. And I feel like that's kind of how it should be. Like
The equal opportunity.
yeah, like I'm gonna tell jokes about the black guy. I'm gonna tell jokes about the white dude, put on my white voice, and I'm gonna tell jokes about the gay guy. Like it's whatever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like if everyone's equal, which everyone is, and everybody it should. I mean, if you're offended, you're offended. But it's just like I just think he's treating them no different than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, he's an entertainer. But what? So, he's brilliant. And by the way, I got tickets to go see Dave Chappelle next month. Like, I'm excited. I got to see him in concert before when he was in Radio City, and like I left that place with my face hurting, because the thing I like about him is that he doesn't have to act a fool on stage. I mean, he's not a physical comedian. Like the way that he tells a joke, like it shows you like where his mind is, like where his mind is, and that's one of the things that I enjoyed about him, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and folks like that, and yeah, man. So, and we about to wrap soon, but you were talking. I wanted to get back to what you had said about that you don't think cancel. I don't know if you said you don't think cancel culture works, or if you said you don't think people or whatever can be canceled.
I can't think of one person who wasn't already out the door who's been canceled.
Who wasn't already out the door that's been canceled?
Like like people say, what do people say? Like, usually it's like, oh, this person was canceled. No, nobody was checking for them in the first place. Like, okay, Bill Cosby's canceled. R. Kelly's canceled. But it was
to some people.
Yeah, to some. But like on a grand scale, it's like nobody's about to be out here just, blasting R. Kelly like that and just chilling. But yeah, it's like nobody was checking for them anyways. And it's like there's certain levels. If you get canceled for, I don't know, telling an offensive joke or something, that's one thing. What they're accused of and what they've done is completely different. But it's just like Kevin Hart was supposed to be canceled. Kevin Hart has been making 1,000 movies. He has one coming out on, I think, June 18th on Netflix that I think is going to be good.
It's not. Please tell me it's not stand up.
No.
Okay.
It's a movie. It's kind of like what's it called? Imagine That.
Oh boy. Okay. See,
but
yeah.
you liked him when he played a serious role before, and he's kind of playing that same serious
role.
Yeah,
like we already look. We've said this before. I've said this before. I like Kevin Hart in movies. I don't think his stand up is great. And so, yeah, matter of fact, since we're talking about Kevin Hart and we talking about Dave Chappelle, I was team Dave Chappelle. You were team Kevin Hart, and I would always tell you, I was like, yo, Kevin Hart is not on Chappelle's level, man. And I mean, you didn't see it. I don't know if it was just your young age or whatever, but I think you've come around to understand the brilliance that is Dave Chappelle. And even your boy, Kevin Hart, when he was on some interview talking about Dave Chappelle, was like on some GOAT status, like he understands like Chappelle, like they're just different types of comedy. And the last comedy joint that Kevin Hart put out, well, it's not good. It's not good. But he's in everything. He's doing his thing. Shout out to Kevin Hart. I just think his movies are funnier than his stand-up.
Okay. One, Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian. I think
Hold up.
Dude, I've been said this though.
No, hold up.
I've been said this.
Yo, You said Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian.
Okay, hold on. No. Since when? Because remember, you were
Dave
team.
Chappelle. Okay, I was. Dave Chappelle has been my
ladies
favorite
and gentlemen,
comedian.
we need a round of applause for this right here. I mean, because this is what we call conversion, right?
Oh my
Thank
God.
you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so we got the round of applause there because again, you were team Kevin Hart. I was team Dave Chappelle, and I tried to tell you. And see, parents, this is what this is about.
Okay,
it's about planting these seeds. It's about planting these seeds, and just praying that they grow, just watering it, and they blossom. And so, Khalif has blossomed into a new understanding of comedic or comic genius that is Dave Chappelle. My job as a parent is done.
Okay, but yeah, I guess I've been converted to, but he's also since then he's dropped like 4 more specials, but whatever.
Yeah, but even like, oh man, just having a conversation, like his conversations, like he's sharp, man.
Yeah,
he is so sharp.
Okay, we didn't get as much as the conversation. Whatever. Yeah, I think Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian. I think he's the greatest comedian ever.
Hold up. So not only was he converted, ladies and gentlemen, I need another round of applause. So not only has he been converted to from Kevin Hart, he's now saying that Dave Chappelle is the greatest comedian ever. Okay, win for parenting right there. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so that's what I think about Dave Chappelle.
That he's the greatest comedian ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I guess people say Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. Yeah, and they're all there. I haven't listened to as much Richard Pryor, but for me it's like it can't not be Dave Chappelle because shout out to Richard Pryor, but he never did comedy in this social climate. And I think if I've heard some of his jokes, I think if he did, it wouldn't go as well as it's going for Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I mean Richard Pryor, God bless his soul. Like I said, I listened to his album. He was just doing things differently. Like he was just so smooth with it, and like he was sharp as well. But so this is the thing that I love that I wanted to see like in hip hop and in other places where. Like you have the people who like did some things and changed the game, and then you have people who step it up. Like that's what, like I want to see. Like and so listening to Red Fox, listening to like George Carlin, like I said, listening to George Wallace, listening to who else was I listening to? Richard Pryor, and then seeing Eddie Murphy. Like Eddie Murphy takes it to the next level. Like he becomes a pop, I can't even like a rock star comedian.
Yeah, stop right there.
Here we go.
Because I was talking about Dave Chappelle, but before my point that I was getting to is Kevin Hart. One, I've been converted. I still think Kevin Hart is funny and has been funny. I think he's gotten less funny the more PC he's gotten. I think. Let me explain what's his last. No, he's been funny to me up until recently, but even if he's not funny at all to you or whoever,
he sells out arenas.
He's done comedy on a level, stand-up comedy on a level that no one has ever done before, and Dave Chappelle will say that. Yeah, this is the same way Kevin Hart praises Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle praises Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I mean he did it big and sold out arenas. I'm just talking about the skill set. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, if you talk about the greatest comedians of all time, Kevin Hart can not be in the conversation.
See, I think this is where I think there's a difference, right? Because if you talk about like let's say in the hip hop space. Like, I think there's a difference between someone who would be considered the greatest lyricist of all time and the greatest
No. Stop.
Oh, my God.
I didn't say the funny. I said,
okay.
When you're talking about the greatest comedians ever, Kevin Hart has to be in that conversation.
Because he sold out arenas or comedic genius.
and he's done comedy on a level that no one has ever done before. The same way I compare them all the time. The same way Drake has to be in the conversations for greatest rappers of all time, because no one has ever done what he's done on the level he's done it and for as long as he's done it.
And he has skills though. Like
so does
top-notch skills.
Does Kevin Hart.
Okay.
Kevin Hart has been funny.
Yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't been. Even at his funniest, even at his funniest, you don't think he's that funny. That's not the case for most people. Like a lot of people think he's gotten less funny, but most people think at his funniest, he was still extremely funny. I would make the argument that the people who thought he was extremely funny have no history with comedy.
That's not true. Dave Chappelle thinks he's extremely funny.
Nah.
Bro, that's not true. It was like Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, all of these dudes when they're
because you can't say anything. What I'm saying is this, right? And
you can though.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
People have.
So Kevin Hart, right? I've watched shows where people laugh because they felt that they were supposed to laugh because it's a comedy show.
Bro, okay.
But it wasn't. Hey, this dude is talking about raccoons knocking on windows. Come on, man.
Listen close, listeners. He's been saying this stuff for, fam. Like I said, he's gotten less funny.
Okay.
But you just don't like Kevin Hart stand up like that, and that's okay. You don't have to. There's
millions of people who do.
There's a bunch of people who don't, but there's so many who do, and at his funniest, believe that he was extremely funny. And another thing you cannot deny, Kevin Hart has classic jokes that everybody knows of.
Yo, I've used one of his jokes in speeches that I've given, right?
Yeah, and that's not the case. Like, fam, come on. Like the same way Drake has 1,000 captions people use. Kevin Hart has so many. Like, I was in middle school, and but like, yeah, come on, Kevin Hart is really like that. You got to give Kevin Hart his flowers. Is he as funny as Dave Chappelle? That's for you to decide. But you cannot deny what he's done, the impact he's made.
I can't.
And I don't think we'll see someone do comedy on the level Kevin Hart and Dave Chappelle is doing comedy on.
Yeah,
just because of the climate is going in a downhill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it. But one of the things that I always love to do is end on a win. Whether I'm playing sports, you try and get one more in, to leave on a win. If you lose your money playing CeeLo, you trying to let me win it back because you want to leave on a win. And so I'm feeling really good about ending this episode right now on a win. Because, ladies and gentlemen, my son was converted from thinking that Kevin Hart was the greatest comedian to now saying that Dave Chappelle, I need to end on a win, that Dave Chappelle is the greatest. I'm good. I can retire right now.
You can end on your win.
Appreciate that, man.
When I said Kevin Hart was the greatest, I didn't know much other comedy.
Okay.
One.
Mm-hmm. But I told you about Dave Chappelle. Okay.
Okay. I didn't know much about other comedy. I hadn't done my research at the time.
Okay. And now after doing your research,
at the time that I said that, Kevin Hart was definitely whatever.
Yeah.
Like I still do think Kevin Hart is one of the greatest.
Yes, he's one of the greatest.
Who are my top five? My top two comedians are Dave Chappelle and Carlos Miller. Shout out to Carlos Miller.
Carlos Miller from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch some Carlos Miller and yeah.
Okay.
Those are my two favorite.
I mean, I got a number of favorites, but I ain't gonna get into it now. It's because Dave Chappelle has now been listed as my son's favorite and the greatest.
Yeah.
So
I guess we bridged that gap.
Yeah. Okay. So if we bridge that gap, yeah. So let's just end it there, man. Dave Chappelle's the greatest. A parenting win for Dr. Don, people. That is how we do it. Yeah.
You know what it is.
Thank you for listening to the Bridge the Gap podcast. Subscribe, give a 5-star review, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Now, I mean, turn it up.